Hello everyone, welcome to another week of Open Cluster Management Community Meeting. Um, this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you disagree with that, please disconnect now. Today we have two topics on the agenda. First of all, we have Jiahao Wei to talk about the prototype of extensible scheduling using CPU requests. And then later on, Yuan will present her project dashboard demo as well as the 0.8.0 kickoff. So without further delay, Jiahao Wei, whenever you're ready, please share your screen and take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's start. Hello everyone. Recently, I used the add-on framework to develop an add-on to complete a small function, and now share it with you today. Shine is divided into four parts. The first is motivation. The user needs to select the cluster to deploy the application according to the usage of the cluster resources. For example, select a cluster with more CPU idle, or select a cluster with more memory free. The second is background. We already support extensible placement scheduling, which allows use of add-on placement score to select a cluster, but we lack an add-on placement score that contains cluster resource usage information. The next is extensible placement scheduling. This is his some. The third is what I did. I developed a new add-on based on add-on framework, which can collect resource usage information on the cluster and generate an add-on placement score under the cluster namespace of the hub, and then the placement use add-on placement score to select the cluster. In this position, there are two challenges. The challenge 1, how to collect the resource usage of the cluster. Based on this requirement, we need to collect two pieces of information. One is available amount of cluster CPU, and the other is available amount of CPU memory, cluster memory. We all know that available equals capacity minus usage. Here we can get the following two formula. The first is cluster CPU available equals the sum of allocatable CPU and minus sum of CPU usage. Then second is pooled CPU usage. First in mind is node capacity and allocatable. The second in mind contains the usage of pods. Node capacity node capacity contains a part of the resources reserved for the system, which cannot be used by us. The resources used by the pod are resources that belong to a locatable. So subtracting the pod's part from the locatable part and sum up all the nodes is the cluster CPU available we need. The same is true for memory. The second challenge is how to map the real value to the 0 to 100 range of add-on placement score. Our purpose is to generate an add-on placement score. In this add-on placement score, a number from 0 to 100 is used to identify the value amount of CPU and the memory of cluster. Through the above calculation, we can get the real value amount. So we need an average algorithm to put the real value mapped to the range of 0 to 100. And so this algorithm is if value max, so the score equals to 100, else is score 2. Okay, why use the max value? There are two reasons. First is if there is no max value, then an infinite interval is mapped to 0 to 100, and the average mapping cannot be achieved. The second is when the available amount is greater than this max value, the cluster can be considered healthy enough to deploy applications. Also, there may be a better algorithm here, and we come to discussion. Next is a demo video. Okay, I should find. Now I have hub cluster 1, cluster 2 in my.
Yeah, Hal, sorry to interrupt, but we're only seeing a blue screen. Maybe it's on another monitor?
幸好 we cannot see your screen.
看不到我屏幕吗？
Yeah, we cannot see your screen. Maybe you need to stop the sharing and
Okay.
share the media player again. Maybe.
I will re-enter.
Thank you. We can see your screen now.
Okay. Now I have hub cluster 1, cluster 2 in my environment, and I have deployed my add-on. There are two pods started by the add-on. Is a hub and another is an agent. Add-on will create add-on placement score. Now take a look at what's in add-on placement score. Okay, both have the same score. One is CPU available and another is memory available. The next is apply for resource through workload and change the score of add-on placement score. The first workload apply memory and here. The second workload will apply CPU. Let's look at the current score again. The first add-on placement score its memory available is decreased. Okay, we can see the memory score of cluster 1 has decreased. Then select the cluster by creating a placement. This placement's resource name is our add-on placement. Resource name is our add-on placement name, and the score name is the score name is our score name. So it will choose a cluster with a larger memory available. Maybe it, oh yes, it is cluster 2. Then we deploy the second workload, which applies for CPU in cluster 2. Okay, we can see that the CPU score of cluster 2 has decreased. So placement maybe choose cluster 1 because his CPU variable is higher. So let's look. Okay. We can see that we can say he select the cluster 1. Next, what's next is I will create a repo we come to start. Okay, thank you. This is my demo.
Thank you, Jihao, for the demo.
Okay. I stop.
Are there any questions for Jihao? Any comments regarding the add-on placement? Sorry, add-on placement score.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm also interested in how that work with other plugin, like how, for example, if you have a balance and you have a steady score, how they could work together. I think another part is we're always thinking that how a developer can use the manifest work and placement to make them together, and whether we should be able to create a library that ease the usage of placement. For example, to develop an add-on for the placement score. I think maybe from your work we can also have some idea on how to build a library to extend to generate a placement score in a easier way.
Along a similar line, if we're explicitly setting the placement scores just from a value of 0 to 100, I could see users interpreting that as a percent. So more care may be needed for deciding upon that max value instead of just less than or equal. But I know that is open to suggestions. So thank you for your implementation.
Patrick, I think we may have two kind of scores. One is for the memory available, another is memory utilization. I think the utilization can be a percentage, which is in the range from 0 to 100. But this score, I think Jiahao demoed is memory available or CPU available. Yeah, anyway, thank you for your suggestion. I think we can provide all those scores in this add-on placement score.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Hi, Jiahao. I think that's a great work. We finally able to select clusters with resource usage of clusters. So I think your prototype not only show how to develop add-on based on our add-on framework, and also show us how to create the add-on placement score. It's valuable for our developers. Thank you very much.
I think this is indeed a really amazing work, and but it also reminds me of previously we were talking about a prototype of deployment splitter, which is trying to help us to split the deployments from the hub clusters into the managed clusters. For example, we're explicitly setting the expected replicas or etc. I wonder if the deployment splitter, the hub deployment splitter will conflict with this add-on score-based deployment scheduling, or if it's not conflicting, I wonder how they will, if they can work together. Like,
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't know the answer, but it seems like for some way that we can spread the replica based on the score. Is that something we can do?
For my opinion, the deployment splitter is more like a it's helping us to do the initialized the first time distribution of the deployments, and the add-on score based distribution is more like reactive distribution. The second time, or I'm not sure, but yeah, I think that there needs to way to coordinate the two controllers.
Yeah. So, for example, if we have 3 replicas that need to split, and if we decide to select 2 clusters and we got one cluster has score of 2, another cluster with score of 1, does that make sense that we split the replica for like the replica 2 to the cluster 1 and replica 1 to the cluster 2, just to conform with the score for each cluster? Maybe based on resource usage, maybe that makes sense, but not quite sure about the other kind of score.
Jihao, do you have any more comments that you want to make regarding what we just discussed? Anyone else with anyone more questions or comments? Thank you everyone for the suggestions and the feedback to Jihao, and thank you Jihao Wei for the amazing presentation and demo. Next up we have Yuan Yuan, and she's gonna present us the new demo dashboard as well. I mean, new project dashboard, as well as talk about the 0.8 release. Please go ahead, Yuan Yuan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Yep.
can.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for great work on our previous release, and we plan to GA 070 today. And I think it's a good time to kick off next release 0.8.0. And following up with the last suggestion in last call, I looked into the dashboard in some other open source community like Kubernetes, EC2, and some others. and I simplified our project dashboard as it is today. So in other communities, seems they just keep a view for current release. But here I still put a view for the previous release, but we can remove it anytime. Now we don't use milestones, so in case you want to add any project to current release, you just assign your issues to OCM releases project. It will be automatically shown in these two views, one dashboard and one course table. So talking about this, I also plan to remove previous projects since we currently have two projects coexist, but they seems duplicated. So if no more comments, I will remove another project OCM roadmap and cover them all in one dashboard here. Yeah. So any comments?
I think this is a good idea.
Thank you. Okay, so talking about next release, here it automatically gets some unfinished work to 0.8.0, and I also want to call for actions for adding your planned project to this dashboard project. So I'm not sure if there's it reflects an work from Kim's side or another organizations. So Kim, could you please?
I forgot to create an issue about ARM support. I think that's one I discussed with with me on that. So I will create an issue in that about ARM support.
Right. Okay. So that's all from my side. So in case we have any, feel free to add to this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuan. Any comment for Yuan? Any questions regarding the new dashboard project? Okay. On the same related topic, Quzhen, do you want to talk a little bit about wrapping up our 0.7 release? I know we're gonna GA, I guess today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think the add-on and the policy add-on have now done their release, and I think we cut our 0.6 branches as well, release branches as well. So.
Great. Yeah, I will update the release announcement PR today. I probably will leave it for one day for other further comments. Then I think we should be able to announce the 0.7 release.
Thank you. Anyone else regarding comment about the 0.7 release? Min Kim, do you have anything you want to add?
Hey, wait, hello? Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can.
Yeah. Yeah. This week we're trying the new release in some testing environments, and we had some feedbacks. One feedback says about in the new release we added a new feature gate to the registration component, but sadly we didn't have a way to configure to open it because the feature gate is alpha, so which will be disabled by default. So I think one way to do one workaround is to thanks to the fact that now we have a release branch, so we can, for example, send a fix to the release branch that enables the feature gates, so that we can land onto the new feature gate. But in the long term, we can supporting customizing the feature gates, the enablement of the feature gates on the cluster manager or clusterlet, the custom resource. I think that's all for me, based on my testing of the new release, the trial of the new release.
Yeah, I think that we should do that. we should fix on the 0.7 release to enable. I think that the feature gates for CSR compatibility.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of surprising because I thought I committed everything I wanted into the community, but in the end I didn't find a way to open it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, I probably we also need to create an issue to add the feature gates in the API for cluster manager and clusterlet in 0.8. That could be much more convenient.
Thank you, Min, and thank you, Pujang, for the comments. There is one other issue that I wanna share. We have a contributor that wants to create another new repo called the OCM VS Code extension. I think the idea of this repo, and I'm waiting for him to provide the repo URL, is to create an extension so you can develop OCM, either sample apps or some sample policy, or just either use use OCM or develop OCM easier. So if you have any feedback about that, please head over to the community issue here and post some of your comments. Thank you. Okay, I think that is about it from my side. Is there anything else anyone want to bring up? Well, thank you everyone for this week's discussion. Thank you, Jihao and Yuan for the presentation. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.